There have been a lot of advertisements and commercials from Apple, as well as other similar companies over the years that achieve a certain legendary status of terrible. The first example that pops into my mind is that What's a Computer ad for the iPad Pro like 7 years ago. It was hilariously dumb and just painful.
What you doing on your computer?
What's a computer?
Yeah, you remember that one? That was great. Well, we might be able to add another one to the list. Maybe. I'll give my thoughts on it in a bit. If you take a gander at tech news right now, only a few days after Apple announced their brand new iPad Pro, you will see an overwhelming and ridiculous amount of articles and commentary on the reaction and fallout from their newest ad spot. And when I say ridiculous, I mean absolutely absurd. The media really want you to know about this. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and this is Cola from 91 Tech, who's very clingy and just had to be here. And if you believe the hype, Apple just released one of their worst commercials of all time. Possibly, in fact, one of the worst commercials ever made by anybody of all time. Now, emphasis on maybe, because I'm not so sure that it lives up to the hype and infamy that the media have been kind of pumping out there. So today we're gonna watch this ad together, see why people don't like it, and talk about whether or not the hate is justified. Okay, so this here is the ad, Crush iPad Pro. Now it's only got like a little under 1 million views there. The actual introduction here is 17 million, which is quite a few. This is just like your typical floating 3D model concept. But on Twitter, or I guess X, there's this video here that Tim Cook tweeted out the other day. 52.4 million views. In fact, this is probably a little out of date. Let's refresh. 53.1 million views and counting. Meet the new iPad Pro, the thinnest product we've ever created, the most advanced display we've ever produced, which is true, by the way, with the incredible power of the M4 chip. Just imagine all the things it'll be used to create. Note it says create and not destroy. All right, let's go ahead and watch this ad and we will see if it's really as bad as people think. Okay, so sorry, past Josh, we actually cannot watch this. This video has been now delayed multiple days due to copyright, not due to the song. I can take that out, no problem. It's a Sonny and Cher song, All I Need Is You, which is very poignant for what they're trying to get across with the iPad here. But the actual ad itself, YouTube keeps blocking my videos because, you know, fair use is just like a suggestion. So I can't show very much of the ad, unfortunately. You're seeing a little bit of it here with a CRT filter and split up, so it doesn't trigger any filters. Apple really doesn't want this ad out there. It doesn't just demonetize you if this copyright is triggered on your video, it just blocks it completely. So if this video ever disappears, they got to me. But in any case, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here. Maybe like, what, $50,000 worth of equipment on that stage? But then it all gets crushed by the hydraulic press, including Angry Birds, into one singular device that's worth maybe $1,000, the iPad. It does it all, folks. I'll pop in the description a link to Apple's original video if you want to check that out, but that's about the gist of it here. And what's this? They all combined into a singular iPad. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that awesome? Well, apparently people think not so much, because the backlash here is absurd. Like, I have not seen so much backlash for anything Apple's done in a long time. If you just look up Apple iPad ad, right? Apple gets crushing backlash to its gross iPad ad from celebrities and artists. Apple apologizes for iPad Crush ad that misses the mark. Destruction of the human experience. What was Apple thinking? Apple's disturbing new ad. Apple's ad sparks outrage. Apple's ad sparks backlash from the human experience. Apple iPad ad is bad. I think that's my favorite headline thus far. And we keep going here. I mean, it just doesn't stop. And these aren't just like random things. Like, I've never heard of the drum before. I don't know what that is. Forbes, though. Time Magazine, Business Insider, Washington Post, BBC, Vanity Fair, NBC, Hollywood Reporter. It just doesn't stop. Sky News, Forbes, Yahoo, Dig, Kotaku, Mint, Business Insider, Verge, CNN, Independent. Holy crap, guys. Why is everybody so mad at this ad? Well, we were just watching it, and I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, right? It's destroying things for no reason. I think there's a few layers to this, and the initial reasoning as to why this commercial might rub someone the wrong way is more than apparent. You've got this mix of really cool and really expensive instruments and electronics being physically destroyed for no real reason. I mean, it's a neat visual, but still, for a lot of people seeing this stuff being physically crushed, it hurts a part of their soul, and I think that's fair. But the next layer is where the problems begin, that people see this as symbols of human creativity and art being destroyed and replaced with a soulless slab of metal and glass, and that's the message that Apple is trying to push. Now, personally, this is not the vibe I got on my first watch, and my own reaction was pretty neutral. overall. I actually thought it was a pretty good ad. It looks cool, it's memorable. I mean, you don't see a hydraulic press crushing an entire studio setup very often, and with the paint coming down and the nice music, I don't know. I can see what Apple was going for here. All I need is you, this one device can do all of this. Their intended message was obviously never to offend anyone or say that the iPad was replacing all of this, but instead that the iPad is simply compacting and compiling all of these things into a singular package, thus becoming the ultimate tool for the same human creativity that spawns from all of this as a set. We live in this futuristic world where this incredibly thin tablet computer really does combine all of these things, should you want to use it that way, as well as a whole lot more. It's a marvel of technology, and it's easy to take for granted just how far everything has come. But that's Apple's perspective, and I'm gonna be honest, I think that while this ad is cool, and I don't hate it, it is also extremely tone deaf, and I do find it wild nobody pointed out how easily people could take this whole commercial the wrong way, especially with the general feelings people have right now towards tech. With AI getting big and a lot of people really pushing back against that as of recent, I can see why they might take this as a big screw you from Apple, saying they don't need any of the traditional instruments or tools, but instead again this soulless modern computer. Now, I'm not gonna pull any punches here, just gonna be real. This controversy is stupid, like so stupid. I wasn't originally gonna give any strong opinion, but the more I look at all of this absurd reaction, the more I can't help but think this has got to be the dumbest thing to be angry about, at least to this extent. I get some discontent, and again here, I do sort of understand that anger, some of it. This was tone deaf. Apple never should have done it, and I think it was the right decision by them to apologize and remove the ad, at least from a PR standpoint. I think I would have respected Apple more if they stuck to their guns and said that this was in itself art, and people are just taking the ad the wrong way, and it's simply showing the potential and capabilities of iPad, but it's hard to blame any company for giving in, especially when the backlash is this massive and just monumental. Like, there's so much of it. And now we'll probably see a minor pushback of people rolling their eyes and saying that everyone overreacted, followed by everyone forgetting all about it and moving on to the next minor thing that can be blown up into a controversy for no real reason. I think what I'm most confused by is just how this became such a big deal in the first place. As said, I cannot think of another time Apple's made everyone this angry, at least from a non-hardware or software related quote-unquote controversy. Like, sure, Antenna Gate, Ben Gates, or the headphone jack, lots of media attention there, but their ads, Apple usually plays it safe, and there's typically little to no media recognition, with maybe a few exceptions time to time, but even then that, like, what's a computer ad, it's not like Apple just pulled that off the air, or apologized or anything. It was just cringeworthy, and that was that. This ad really just ticked people off. Now, why did it get so big? A few main reasons. Firstly, celebrities on Twitter gave their 2 cents, which attracted the attention of big media that may not normally talk about Apple. Secondly, there was already a ton of media attention and focus on Apple, as is due to their iPad event, so articles and discussion was going to happen with or without a controversy. This all just gave these publications something to hone in on. Thirdly, any excuse for the media to talk about Apple in an even remotely negative light is going to draw clicks like nobody's business, which then amplified the issue to a greater audience and caused a bit of a circular, self-fulfilling pattern of more people talking about it, more backlash, more outrage, and then more media parroting the story. Apple is huge. They're one of the most valuable companies in the world, and negative news always makes for far better clickbait than something positive or even something neutral like simply reporting on new iPad hardware. So of course, I mean, how could you not talk about it and get those sweet clicks? Heck, even I'm doing it right now, hoping to draw even more for myself. Mind you, part of the reason I'm talking about this is because, again, I can't help but feel this is so wildly overblown and people really just need to chillax a little, you know? Whichever ad agency did this, they no doubt put a ton of passion and time into making something they truly thought was beautiful. And from a filmography, videography standpoint, I think they more than succeeded. This is a really cool visual, and it does tickle some destructive part of my brain every time I watch it. The question we should really be asking here is how many takes this took. They destroy everything, and it's like, ah, dang it, Bob, you were in the background still, what happened? All right, bring in the next piano. Funnily enough, and I saw this on r/Apple, LG actually did a very similar ad back in 2008, and of course nobody cared back then. And again, I think this kind of just shows the shift in mentality to how people are viewing new technologies right now, and especially the companies that supply them. I have no problem with negative press towards Apple, if it's justified, but in this case, it's not justified. This is dumb. It's simply a tone-deaf ad that looks cool and probably never should have been made in the first place. I don't think Apple needs to pull it, but given the media coverage, it was likely their best move. Now that being said, Apple really could have fixed this so easily by just playing this whole thing in reverse. I saw this on Twitter and it makes perfect sense. Why not just have this whole hydraulic press go in reverse and then everything forms into an iPad somehow at the end of it? Same cool visual without the destruction. I mean, the destruction's still happening, but it doesn't feel like it because it's all reforming. There'd probably be a few people upset that they destroyed these expensive things, but it would not have gotten even a small percentage of the amount of backlash that the actual ad got. I just coughed a lot. I don't know why. Anyways, yeah, that's about my thoughts on it. Not a lot to say. I just wanted to talk about it, and really what I want to hear is from you guys. What do you think of this ad? Is it as bad as people are making it out to be? Should Apple be ashamed of themselves for this? That's what I'm wondering from you guys, so make sure you let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, found it interesting, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing for more tech content. Huge shout out to the channel members. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Josh from 91 Tech. This is Cola from 91 Tech, and we will see you all next time.